Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie. Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi. Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie. Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington. Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson. Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson. Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
"17 years ago, Anne Howard was accused of causing the blindness of young Christopher Weber. She has lived most of her life trying to control her grief and her guilt. Tonight, talking to the same young man, Christopher Weber, she disturbed him to the extent that he walked away from her, fell, and seriously injured himself. Anne Howard has come the full circle.
I don't believe it. You're not coming here to see Chris. May I please get by? You don't really have the nerve to come barging in here after what you've done. Are you going to let me by? You didn't get him the first time, so you thought you'd finish the job tonight. It was an accident. Accident? Which time? A long time ago on the bluff or tonight? I'm all mixed up. I don't know which time you mean.
And you have to know. Your job, your self-appointed job, is to stand by the hospital door and ask questions.
I'm Chris's sister-in-law, and that makes me family.
And when I pass you, who's next? Your husband, standing there with a club in his hand?
Maybe.
Dr. Hoyt, report to surgery. Dr. Hoyt, report to surgery.
Hello, Miss Howard. Don't tell me you're reporting for work.
No,
Are you all right, Miss Howard?
Christopher Weber, he's a patient. He was brought in tonight. You have a report on him?
Let me check. Chris Weber. Christopher Weber. No, we don't have any patient by that name.
You must. He's here. I know he's here.
Oh, was it an emergency?
Yes.
Oh, they probably haven't filed a report yet. I'll call down.
Hannah. Visiting hours already?
Just how long do you intend to stay here, Martin?
Worried about the bill, Hannah?
I have just talked with Stephen. Brother, he cornered me.
And?
And while you sit here, safe and secure in this fortress of yours with this so-called relapse, Stephen is asking questions, and I don't intend to face him alone any longer.
Stephen knows nothing. Because the girl knows nothing.
How can you be so sure?
I occasionally come out of my fortress, Hannah. I saw the girl, right here in the hospital, and I spoke to her.
She knows about the sketches that Brian made of Catherine, and so does Stephen.
I took care of that, too. I told her the sketches were made when Catherine was at finishing school in Boston, that I never knew the artist.
And that satisfied her.
Yes. If the name Martin Peyton meant anything to her, if she knew we were related, don't you think I'd have seen that? Read it in her face?
Well, she may not know it yet.
Has it occurred to you, Hannah, that your late husband, may have wanted to keep his little fiction to spare his poor daughter, just as you want to spare poor Stephen?
That man will find a way to ruin us both through her.
He's dead, Hannah. He's dead.
And that only means that you can't buy his silence anymore.
Oh, bury him, Hannah. Everyone else has.
Well, I can't. I can't until I'm certain that our bargain is buried with him.
I don't want to hear any more about Brian Colby. Or Brian Corn.
Well, what you want, Martin, and what you're going to get are no longer the same thing. Don't you understand this man is still manipulating us? Even from the grave.
locked, ready to leave.
What did the test show, Doctor?
They confirm what I suspected. You've shown a definite improvement in the past few months.
May show it, but I don't feel it.
We need the beds, Mr. Peyton. It's as simple as that. We're overcrowded and understaffed here, just like they are at every other hospital.
I'll go home and I get good and ready.
Mr. Peyton, you're using me in this hospital for some personal reason. I don't know what that is, but I do know it has nothing to do with your physical condition.
I'm paying for this room.
This isn't a hotel or a retreat.
Excuse me, Dr. Rossi. You're wanted in emergency.
No, thank you, Miss Dunn. Tomorrow. They'll have his release ready at the desk.
Thanks, Doctor.
I'll see you tomorrow to say goodbye.
He means it, Martin.
Start packing my things, Hannah.
I thought you were going to be the one who said when you'd leave.
I also know when to change my fortress, Hannah. If I stay here, I'll be getting questions and arguments from Rossi with every injection. But you'll have to face Stephen, no matter where I am.
And you'll face him with me. Because there's no place left to hide.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Chris's fault.
Second time in his life.
Well, we don't know how serious it is yet.
How much should one human being have to take? It isn't fair.
I don't know. It isn't fair at all.
Chris has lived inside himself since he was 8 years old. He's had to create his own world. I've admired him ever since I first met him when he walked in this office here. He wanted to take an ad to get somebody to help him read. I asked for the job. I wanted to help him. You know something? When he said yes, I felt lucky. I still feel lucky.
Oh, honey, I know how painful this can be for you.
A little while ago, you accused me of, what was the word, of using Chris for my own problems. Then the accident happened and suddenly you changed. Suddenly you understand my feelings.
Now, that's rather unfair.
Weren't you just warning me to keep my distance?
I was talking about something else, and you know it.
I just want you to know that I care about Chris. I care about his life. I care about his blindness. I care about what happens to him. I care.
As a friend?
Yes, as a friend.
Well, then you see, you're twisting everything around, Allison. Before the accident, we were talking about the possibility. No, wait a minute, not the possibility. The probability of hurting his feelings. He doesn't have the same kind of armor as the rest of us. He doesn't have the same kind of defenses against...
People like me? Huh?
You want to fight, don't you? You want to kick and shout and tell the world it isn't right to hurt this one boy so much. I feel the same way, but it isn't your father's fault, honestly.
Whose fault, Ben, do you think it is? Whose fault? Ann Howard's? I don't think so.
Oh, come on, let's get out of this mausoleum.
Would you like me to fix you something?
I don't think so.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn we opened this the night before I left. You didn't by any chance throw any wild parties in my absence?
Oh, I had the whole town in.
I had something a little more private in mind.
I think I better look at the roast.
Betty? What was Rodney doing here the night I was in Boston?
Who told you, your mother?
I'm waiting for an answer. What was he doing here?
He came to talk
About what?
about his mother's portrait, why it was slashed.
Couldn't you talk at his grandfather's house?
Afraid somebody might hear us.
What did Rod say about his mother's portrait? Did he solve the mystery? What did he say?
He said he hadn't been able to find out who slashed it.
Your ex-husband made a special trip to this house for no reason to tell you nothing. And you're asking me to believe that? Or didn't you think of it as our home? Was it just a convenient place to meet?
Your mother really must have given you an earful.
Did you expect her to keep your secret?
I don't know what she told you, but it was perfectly innocent.
Why didn't you say something? If Rodney's coming here was so perfectly innocent, why did you try to hide it from me?
I was afraid that... I didn't know how you'd take it.
Well, how was I supposed to take it? My wife dating another man.
It wasn't a date.
I was being polite. Was Rod here when I called from Boston? Betty, was Rod here when I called from Boston?
Yes. I wanted to tell you. But you were so angry after that other night at the shoreline.
Well, I had good reason to be angry. Considering the exhibit you made of yourself for Rodney's benefit.
I told you that would never happen again.
Do you expect me to believe that? Oh, you were great on the phone. I love you, Stephen. I miss you. Hurry home, Stephen. And all the time, Rodney was sitting right here beside you. Or did you take my call on the other extension? Do you remember the first time we came here, Betty? Our wedding day? A brand new house to begin a brand new marriage? And I said, get anything you want. Anything it takes to make a home for you. But the only thing you ever wanted was Rodney Harrington.
Can't you believe that I love you, Stephen? I love you.
I'm a lawyer. I go by the evidence.
By your mother's nasty-minded suspicions.
You have said nothing yet to make me doubt them.
You saved Rodney's life. Or at least you saved him from years and years of prison. Do you think he's forgotten that?
He sure chose an odd way to repay me.
He came here as your friend. You must believe that. You've got to believe that I'm telling you the truth. You've got to.
I think I'll go down to the office for a while and catch up on some paperwork.
Why can't it wait until tomorrow? I mean, dinner's ready.
I'll have to wait. I may be late. Don't wait up.
Don't go. Don't you realize what your mother's doing to you? She's throwing up a smoke screen so that you won't ask questions about what's going on in that house.
Who gave her the ammunition?
Rod, can you talk?
What is it, Betty?
Well, Stephen knows you were here, and he's added everything up all wrong.
Well, then you've got to tell him why I was there.
Well, what am I supposed to tell him? Stephen, the man you buried this morning was your father. Is that what I'm supposed to tell him?
Betty, you can't go on protecting Stephen. You're going to ruin your marriage.